We discover that the Mayans, in their descriptions, were talking about the last 13-year countdown to the 0 year of 2012, and they described it as an age of revealing when the masks would be coming down. The Bible corroborates that, and they have talking about their apocalypse. But the apocalypse comes from the Greek, to reveal. In fact, what they really meant was that apocalypse was a physical thing. Apocalypse was a big leather covering that covered something. That's all it meant. A leather covering. A leather covering. What's the metaphor? Yeah. Your body. The leather covering of the skin of the human being. That's what the apocalypse... And that's why they said the Battle of Armageddon will be fought in the air, meaning it's not physical. It's an intellectual battle. Anyone who's done a little study of the metaphorical, symbolic stuff knows this. We've established that there are these great connections between the microcosm and the macrocosm. And now, fortunately, it's not just the mystics, the true yogis, it's not just the Wilhelm Reichs and the occultists who've been talking about this. At last, finally, the scientists are also are catching up. Dr. George W. Cryle of the Cleveland Laboratories announced that he had discovered at the heart of every living organism a tiny nucleus of energy all aglow, with temperatures ranging from 3,000 to 6,000 degrees of heat, which he called radiogens or hot points, precisely akin to the radiant energy of solar matter. Look at that. Precisely akin to the radiant energy of solar matter. He affirmed that a tiny particle of the sun's power and radiance was lodged within the heart of every organic unit. If a mystic had said it, it'll be crazy, he's on something. But a scientist is now saying it. Deepak Chopra addresses it. Photons, which is the highest form of physical light, come out of nowhere. They cannot be stored, they can barely be pinned down in time. And they have no home in space whatsoever. That is, light occupies no volume and has no mass. The similarity between a thought and a photon is very deep. Both are born in the region beyond space and time where nature controls all processes in that void which is full of creative intelligence. In the early 1980s, thanks to the development of a sophisticated measurement device, a team of scientists demonstrated that the cells of all living beings emit photons of a rate up to approximately 100 units per second per square centimeter of surface area. They also showed that DNA was the source of the photon emission. The Mayan calendar, says Stephen Hanauer, is the only calendar known to be based on galactic cycles. The Mayans claimed that they created this calendar in order to monitor the light coming from the center of the galaxy and how it affected our DNA. We now know, through the work of Fritz Popp, that DNA not only absorbs light, but also emits light. DNA also appears to be the bridge between our physical and etheric bodies. Modern science now realizes that our DNA directly reflects our consciousness, making it possible for us to willfully change our DNA. Now that's magic, and that's true religion. Of course, the slave wants nothing to do with that. He's given away his power to others who do the thinking for him. Consciousness changed my DNA? You mean disease is changeable by consciousness? I don't want to believe that. It's external, it's a bug, it's a virus that's outside of me. I don't want to have anything to do with consciousness. I don't want to think. I don't want to change my consciousness. No. I believe what the FDA and the AMA tell me. But as a matter of fact, the opposite is true. The whole of matter can be transformed and changed by thinking. DNA is nothing but an expression of vibration, of energy, affected by thought. It's below thought. Your thinking will transform it. But my goodness, what would this philosophy now would do to the human race?
The positive originator or father of thinking. Let's call this father of thinking thought. The seed of thinking, the seed of this patron father is neutral, not a patron or a proton, not mature enough to have seed of its own, simply neutron. We'll call this a neutron, and we'll call it the sun. This is the seed or son of the father. This neutron sun seed is one with the father proton, matching 1 for 1, only a bit smaller in size. The sun isn't a positive originator of thought, he's neutral, he's a peaceful sun. This is the beginning of thought, the beginning of thinking. The next step in the manipulation process is the thinking process, is the introduction of seduction. It's a grand concept to fabricate the concept of thinking, but just one thought isn't going to manipulate anyone loose on their connection to reality. This group of thinkers then thought to introduce something that would manufacture a form of perpetuity in this whole notion of taking control. Something that would be a place of reproducing the whole thinking process over and over and over again, endlessly, with virtually no effort other than directing the course of thinking until it would reach its final conclusion, complete control, and the complete submission of everything unto them. The introduction of this next stage of thinking would have to cause motion, vibrations, and energy. Without motion or energy, the proton and neutron, father and son, would lie dormant, nothing more than a thought without purpose. The concept of an opposite between positive protons conjured up. We call this the negative attraction that would perpetually spark the imagination of the father proton. We call this electroplating the electron. The electrons would be small, much smaller than the father proton or the neutron sun. In fact, over 1,800 times smaller. This electron would spin around the proton and neutron, held in orbit by the attraction to the male, yet keeping a distance, yet flirting endlessly for the male to pounce. Well, why stop there? Introduce another elect lady and another. Make it a whole harem of elect ladies. Flirting and circling the male, creating a womb of protection for the seed of the father to grow and reproduce another just like themselves again and again endlessly. We'll call this womb the nucleus. This womb will be the room, the birthplace of the neutron sun seed within the womb of the mother. This mother we'll call matter. This womb of the mother, this room of matter, is called the nucleus, for it produced the nuclei of us. Matter is that which occupies space. Even though this mother electron is just a thought from the group of thinkers, it orbits the father and the son at the speed of thought, thereby occupying space, conjuring up the illusion of matter. Observe closely. The nucleus forms a hexagon in this two-dimensional demonstration. The hexagon is the form of two overlapping triangles which have been created by the electrons orbiting the proton and neutron. This hexagon is the hex placed on humanity through the adoration of the mother woman. This has been implanted through the thought process of this unseen group of thinkers. Void and emptiness of nothing, thought conjured of something. Within this grouping of the father proton, the son neutron, and the mother electron, the whole of everything is formed. This is the first atom, the beginning in the womb of thought. This is the matrix. Thought formed this energy that glowed as an electrically charged atom. This glow in turn produced light. What you see in front of you is a two-dimensional representation of the atom symbol that represents a ray of light. This was created or conjured up by thought. Thought is the Egyptian god of thought, creator of almost every activity known to man. Thought is spelled T-H-O-T-H. This god is responsible for the alphabet, writing, speaking, the sciences, religion, you name it, and thought is responsible for it. The Egyptians credited thought with the work of science, religion, philosophy, and magic. The Greeks credited thought as the inventor of astronomy, astrology, the science of numbers, mathematics, geometry, land surveying, medicine, botany, theology, civilized government, the alphabet, reading, writing, and oratory. Thought was the true author of every work of every branch of knowledge, both human and divine. This concept of thought as the Egyptian god thought has its counterpart in Greek mythology as Hermes, and to the Romans he's Mercury. These are just different names for the same god. El, spelled E-L, is mentioned as the father of all gods in Egyptian mythology. El is the inspiration of electricity. Electricity is produced by the electrons of the atom. All those who were faithful to this god El, the god of matter, became the elect, the chosen and faithful. These were the saints of God who were promised riches and power and would rule and reign with El if they would just put their faith in him. This was the covenant, the agreement made between God and man. This covenant was kept in an ark, the ark of the covenant.
Everything in the universe is interconnected. In other words, our bodies are related to everything that corresponds to our physical senses. If you can see, smell, touch, hear, or taste something, then that is related to your existence. We are connected to our planet, as our planet is connected to our solar system. Our solar system is connected to our galaxy, and our galaxy is connected to the universe. It's all one living and breathing organism of life. This shift isn't just a shift for mankind. It's a shift that involves every level of dimension as well as every planet in our solar system. If our solar system is heating up, then the frequencies of each planet within this solar system is rising in conjunction to the galactic shift. The planets in our solar system are raising their vibrations right now. These planets are making preparation for the transformational shift to occur in the upcoming years, culminating in 2012. This is proof that the shift is already happening. So you're probably thinking, what does that mean for me? As the frequencies are rising, our anatomical structure is changing in accordance to this shift. Our DNA resonates with these gradual changes. Many people are discovering or rediscovering hidden abilities that they had when they were children, along with newly founded abilities such as seeing auras in other people, telepathy, or ESP. In the past, many people were afraid to talk about these abilities and suppressed them for fear of being ridiculed. Now, these abilities are becoming more prevalent to those in tune with the shift, and people are outwardly expressing these abilities. For those who are aware of what's happening, we're all going through a DNA upgrade right now. If you look at the lineage of mankind, there is no gradual change found throughout our lineage. The change was abrupt. This will also be the case in what we're currently experiencing. Through this DNA upgrade, our DNA will be fully utilized, including all of the junk DNA that we aren't currently using, which will unlock the mystery of why we're here, who we were in previous lives, and what our true spiritual potential is capable of accomplishing. For some people, this is already happening when they feel that sense of urgency or feel like it's time to go home. Your DNA is giving you these messages. People are ending dead-end relationships in which their bodies can no longer tolerate a person of negative influence. These people are surrounding themselves with other positive, like-minded people as they unknowingly prepare themselves for this transition. Many people will continue to follow the sheep mentality and will continue to ridicule others as they make this transition, only to find that they'll be left behind with no one to blame but themselves. For now, those who are aware of the shift, enjoy it. There's no better time to be alive than right now.